Sportscast. I am your host, Monica Cherie. I have with me today my host, guest host, Simbe. Want to introduce
Hello,
yourself?
everybody. How y'all doing today?
Yes. So today we are going to be talking about some great things going on in women's sports and other sports and things of that nature. Now, the first topic I want to get into, which I'm sure y'all are already very aware of. So, Taylor Townsend. She was called uneducated, and she told the lady she needed to learn how to take a loss better. This recently happened in her recent singles match against, what is this girl's name? And I
Her
want to
name was,
clip.
I think it's Jelena
Jel-
Ostapenko.
Yeah, Jelena Ostapenko. Yeah, and so Taylor came out. Three things she said on her little interview that she did. I let my racket talk, get in the next check, and she's packed up and she's gone. Now, Simbe, we have conversations about black women all the time on these pods that we do, right? I feel some type of way because it's like, first of all, the insensitivity to call a black woman on national television or ESPN uneducated is just crazy to me over a match loss. It's just wild. And I just was trying to figure out, why would you say something of that nature? And then for her to come out and say, I've never been a racist, I've never been this, that, and the third, but you called a dark skinned black woman uneducated because you lost a match. What are your thoughts on this? Because I personally, I was taken aback because I saw everything transpiring, but I didn't realize what was going on. And then when I heard her comments, I was just like, what? Like, you really, in this racial climate that we're in right now, thought that that was okay to say and thought that you were going to get away with it? What are your thoughts?
Well, um, I think it's, how do I say, um, I think it's ironic, obviously we know why she made the comment about you don't have education because she's black. Um, That's really what it comes down to. Um, it has nothing to do with anything other than Taylor being black. I mean, for reference, Taylor Townsend, both her parents were school administrators. Her mom worked as a banker. Her mom played Division II tennis at Lincoln University. She had an older sister who played college tennis at Florida A&M. Um, but she's been somewhat of a tennis prodigy her whole life, going back and forth between Florida and DC in her youth, and she's been a pro since the age of 14, since 2010. Not 2010, since yeah, I think since about 2014, 2010, sometime in that area. The point is, Taylor Townsend and Helena Ostapenko, they both have similar backgrounds. You look at Helena Ostapenko, her mom, former tennis coach and former player. Her dad played soccer. Ukrainian footballer. And she idolized Serena growing up. I think it really comes down to race because they both got the same kind of sports background. Ironically, Taylor Townsend got the sports and academia background through her family. So we know she's educated. Poor people can't play tennis. We know this for a fact. So both of you guys come from money. So you know you both come from class and you both have an education to a degree.
Hmm.
Taylor more so than Helena. So it just comes down to racism. But again, you and I, we do this podcast anytime we get together, and we always talk about how black women are not allowed to express a full range of emotions.
Hmm.
And if black women do express a full range of emotions, or not a full range, but if they are allowed to express emotions, it must be black and white. They must be expressing happiness or sadness,
Hmm.
anger or joy. They're not allowed to have complicated feelings. They're not allowed to have feelings that require the observer to use nuance. We see it all the time. Black people are not allowed. Black women, not in particular, are not allowed that. And I think Taylor Townsend also represents that in how she because you seeing a black woman win unapologetically, and you know, and it upsets you, Helena, and so you reach for the low hanging fruit, which is the racist tropes, when that's not even the person you're seeing. You're just seeing a lady who come from a similar background to you. She just beat you. She was just better that day, and it was poor sportsmanship. Um,
Very
for
much
real, for real.
so. And I feel like the way that she handled it, that Taylor handled it, was very classy. I like that she said she lets her racket talk. I like that she came
Right.
back, even though she didn't win in the singles match, and she's still going in the doubles. I'm just proud of how she handled herself. I'm happy she did not go off, or as they would say, cuss the lady out, anything like that. She just said you need to learn how to take a loss better, smiled, and walked away. And that's how you handle yourself with class and dignity, especially in a white dominated sport like that. It was just very classless for her to say that to her, and it was disgusting, and I'm disgusted, and I'm still disgusted, and she can apologize many times as she want. Her apology, you can kiss my ass, honestly. Like, I can't, I cannot. It was unnecessary, and it's like I just don't get why people feel like they can just say things like that to people, and it's just weird. It's weird behavior. Whether it was a black girl saying it to another black girl, or a white girl saying it to a black girl, or a white girl saying it to another white girl, it's disrespectful and it's ridiculous. And it shouldn't have never been said. So that's my thoughts on that situation. Moving on to something more positive, we did have Naomi Osaka play Coco Golf yesterday in the singles round. Naomi Osaka ended up winning that round, 6-3 for the first game, and I believe the second game was 6-2, if I'm not mistaken. And the way that they handled the sportsmanship, now Coco Golf, I did not see this match the other day where they said she was crying. Now let me pull this up real quick because it was a lot going on with that. Did you see that?
No, I missed it, but I heard it though.
You heard about it?
I
How do you feel
yeah,
about her crying throughout the match to get through to a win?
Naomi Osaka.
No, Coco Golf.
Um, you mean wait, time out. You mean when Coco Golf cried her way through her previous win
Yes.
on Saturday
Yes.
last? Okay. Um, whatever you got to do to get yourself there. Whatever you got to do to get yourself to victory. You know
Mhm.
that's not hurting some. It is you not hurt as long as you're not hurting nobody. Whatever you got to do to get yourself to the W, do it. Um, we I think sometimes we forget because we've had Coco's golf name in our mouth for a while. She's 21 years old.
Yeah. She's very
She
young.
20 she 21 years old. And so she's working on these emotions in real time.
Mhm.
Um and so yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's volatile. This sport, tennis is such a lonely sport because in boxing, it's a solo sport, but guess what? In boxing, in between rounds, I can go to the corner and talk to my trainer. Tennis, you're by yourself. Well,
Yeah.
so anything that you went over with your trainer, you got to remember it. But then also, you might be my trainer. We have a game plan. My opponent is playing totally different than everything we planned, and we can't even talk about it. I gotta fix it on the fly. There's frustrations. I might not be doing my thing at the level I'm accustomed to doing it today.
Mhm.
So and that's the thing. If we even going back to the Townsend Helena thing, this whole etiquette in tennis, me personally, I don't understand it. I think you and I, we watched the NBA last year. We watched pretty much the whole regular season, all the playoffs.
Mhm.
We were able to see how emotions wane game to game, quarter to quarter. The season, the NBA season starts in Halloween, ends in June. A whole lot of emotion. I mean, this we would get on here and argue about a team one week, and we would ask, "That's not the same team. This team we saw this week is not the same team we saw last week. Y'all need to do what y'all was doing last week during those 5 games last week. You a whole new team this week. Stop being. These are human beings, and so yeah, I again, Coco Gauff, a black woman. That's what I said. We only allow black women to have black and white emotion. Why are you crying while winning? Why are you crying while competing? Why you So very few people are going to have the conversation we have.
And that
But
match
with
was
that said,
on a Bekic, just so you guys are aware.
hmm yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm pro emotion in sport. I'm pro emotion in sports. That's what we love sports for because how when we say dig deep, the key word is deep.
Yeah,
Like you dig in for to help you get this win. I have to cross a boundary where I might be leaving sanity behind.
right.
So you might say, "Why are you crying?" Because I'm going insane. I gotta go to a deep, dark place to pull out this W. Because the girl that I'm facing right now is ranked 28th in this tournament. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like she is somebody too. I'm Coco Golf. She is somebody. Like she not nobody. So if I want to beat her, I gotta go to a place that you don't go to during your regular day life.
Yeah, I love the fireworks.
I don't even know how. I was kidding. I don't know how I did it. It was an accident. But I tried to
That's
be
crazy.
quiet. I tried to be quiet.
I don't even know how to do this. This is crazy. Yo,
I don't even know how I did it.
that was fire. That was 100% fire though. Because
Oh,
you just hit like right behind. Yeah, that was fire. That was like right on.
woo.
Thank you.
Yo.
Thank you for that. Thank you
Okay.
for that. And
Her
then
name.
just her comments after her loss to Naomi Osaka. Now I did watch that whole match. Um I thought Coco was going, I thought it was going to be a more competitive match. Like I said, Naomi obviously won more rounds than her. She beat her in 2 rounds. I thought it was going to be a 3 round match, and it wasn't. And Coco made her comments. She said she kind of broke down after losing to Naomi at the U.S. Open. But I think it just all comes down to experience and skill. Coco has won her titles. Naomi has won her titles. Naomi has a new coach, if I'm not mistaken, um, that she's working with on her team. I hope I'm not wrong about this, but this is what I heard, that she's working with a new coach on her team. And so even with Naomi Osaka, like we've seen her break down several times during losses after she's lost in these matches. And it's like you said, you're on an island by yourself. Your loss is on you. It's not a team effort or anything unless you're playing doubles. It's not a team effort. It's on specifically you. And to see these black women, normally we'll see certain players, of other races, and we've seen them hit their tennis rackets, start throwing tennis rackets and things like that. Like you said, with black women it's always black and white, right? We can't afford to be throwing our tennis rackets or hitting things and stuff in those public places like that. So that's not something we do. So the tears and everything, after the matches, even though people might be like, oh, it's just a loss, it's like, no, but how do you express that? Because other
Right.
people are privileged to where they can throw rackets and throw tantrums on the court and say things like you're uneducated and get away with it, right? We can't do that. So it's a big difference. And Naomi was very emotional after that win over Coco Golf as well. And she said, she really respects her for her to be so young and just doing all that she's doing and just setting such a good example for other young girls all around the world and just showing them that you can really do this. We have Venus and Serena. Now we got Coco, we got Taylor, we got Haley Baptiste. I hope I said her name right. Um, and Osaka. So it's to see all the overwhelming support on social media, even though it's just social media, even in real life, for to be able to talk to another woman and just say like, yo, we feel like tennis is becoming a black sport, even in joking. It's a beautiful thing. And I like that they were able to play and show sportsmanship. Even though Coco was disappointed, you don't see any negative comments from her about it. It's just like, yo, I lost and I'm going to do what I can to get better, and remain on a positive note. You don't see throwing tennis rackets or, all the cockiness and, I lost because, I'm better than them. They just had a good game. You don't see all that. And I just want to welcome all the positivity from just black women in sports, especially in sports like tennis and other sports where we're not represented that much. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. And that's my commentary on that. Do you have any other thoughts?
I think that's extremely well said by you. Um, and again, I'm surprised it's not spoken of more, but that's what it is. Speaking on the tennis part, when we talk about sports and athletes taking a leap, I think we've always talked about weight, physical weight, and you know, it seems like we always notice athletes take a leap when they gain weight. Obviously, we're talking. It's weird, right? Younger athletes often need to put on weight. Older athletes often need to cut weight. I don't know if you noticed this. Did you see Naomi Osaka's body? Does she not look a little heavier? I'm starting to notice the more dominant women athletes are starting to to put on some a
Muscle.
little muscle these days, more so than we used to in the past, and you can see it clearly being a not a gap, but Coco Gauff's young. It's making me think the next level in her evolution might be 10 pounds or so. Obviously, you can't put on 10 pounds in 1 year. You don't want to hurt yourself. But Naomi Osaka's 27 years old, 6 year age gap. You know what I'm saying? She just looked a little swoller. You know what I mean? In the highlights that I saw, a little bit more pop from her, and it seemed like a little. It looked like a strength berry. It looked like a little gap, little athlete gap. I think we're used to watching the NBA, so we see young players go from being ass to being good from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. We don't really get that in tennis because it's like you said, it's individual. You can't really hide because you're by yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that. I remember that used to be a big edge for Serena, where a lot of the girls just didn't have that. So when it came to that power, they couldn't really go with her. And I'm wondering if that's going to be a trend we see in tennis is, you know,
I
more
think
ladies adding on that.
yeah, no, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, no, no. That was pretty much you caught me. What I was about to say. Like we want to see more
Okay, yeah, I do because I mean to hit those aces, you got to be strong.
of
To
that.
hit those aces, you got to be strong. We seen Coco Golf. She had like over three aces that game. You know, you got to be strong. It takes a lot of body work, a lot of build. It's tennis is like I've never played tennis. Right, might have played like the ball on the table, whatever. I actually want to get out there and play it because I like to kind of see like the perspective of the athlete and like what they're doing when they're hitting these balls back and forth. Like that's a hard thing to do. I don't think people take that into consideration. Even making sure you don't hurt your wrist or any like I don't know if you watched do you watch All American?
I know you're not about to. You talking about
Yes,
the
I
TV
am.
show?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So on All American, there's a spinoff show, and it's called Homecoming, right? And they have.
What?
Do you didn't see the spinoff? Yo,
Man, I got out because the homie kept talking about I gotta do it for Crenshaw. That got on my nerves.
yes.
Motherfucker said, man, you can't even be like, hey yo, Spencer, I gotta go home. I left the oven on. Well, I'm staying right here because I gotta do
You
it for
gotta do it for
Crenshaw. It's
Crenshaw.
like, all right, it's like, all right, my boy, I gotta go.
And the fact that they
Goodness
said it's based
gracious.
on a true story, I'm like, it's very based on a true story. Like,
Yeah,
it's
base.
not
It's
real.
base.
Like, it's
It's base.
ain't no
It's
way.
the true story is here. They way over here. The
Nah,
only true story that y'all based on is the nigga played football. Everything else,
yeah,
y'all is
is
just run, just
replacement.
tripping.
But it's a good show. It's a good show. Now I haven't watched the last
It's a
two
good show.
seasons. I heard they killed off one of the main characters, so I haven't watched the last two seasons because of that. But with Homecoming, it was based on Jordan's girlfriend, one of the twins or whatever, and she went off to go play school at play tennis at a school in Atlanta, right? And so it was a
Mm.
whole like little HBCU spinoff or whatever. It was cute. And then of course they're gonna take it off TV because it's showing positivity in the black community. They hate that. But even though it's a false, is a not false story, but fiction, it's still positive, and we need more of that in our communities. But basically, they were showing like some of the injuries and things that can happen like with their arms and stuff, like in tennis. Like it's just a difficult sport. So that's the only point I was trying to make. If y'all have never checked it out, check out All American Homecoming. It was a good show. It had like 2 or 3 season run, and I'm sad it's ended, but hey, that's what happens when you show too much positivity. And you show black people as athletes, coming out and doing what they need to do. Can't have too much of that, you know. But moving on, did you see the Texas Ohio game?
Did I see the Texas Ohio
Watch
State
the whole game.
game? I
Watch the whole game.
I based I based my entire Labor Day weekend
Hmm.
around Texas Ohio State. We don't have any NBA. We don't have any NFL. We do have college football. Now,
Yeah.
before we get into the game, I gotta say, I watch so much college football, probably because I missed the NFL and the NBA. I gotta say, college sports just doesn't compare to professional sports. We like not now. I enjoyed it, but that's what it that and watching all the college games, it made me feel like, man, there's just so much tighter in the NFL and the NBA, just like how things get done, just
Yeah.
like how passes are done, how and I felt like this when I during the college basketball season watching March Madness. I'm like, this is exciting because it's March Madness, but this is some bad basketball from what I'm used to, and so because it makes you appreciate bad NBA teams. Like we talk bad about Portland and Charlotte, but then when you
And
watch
Chicago.
below when you watch below the NBA level
Hmm.
and you're watching the highest of another level, like college, you like, oh, I gotta appreciate the NBA more.
Yeah.
Even bad NBA is good, is like PhD level, and it's the same thing I felt about the NFL. I was like, man, I cannot wait for the NFL to come back Thursday because
Yeah.
if this the best college football got to offer,
Hmm.
it's just I don't even know how to frame it. It's just like it's not crisp,
Yeah.
but I see why people love it. I watched the game with somebody who's an Ohio State fan,
Hmm.
family from Ohio, so they got the whole that build up was there. But I think if I was just an observer of football, man, this weekend was tough. There were a few good games, but
Hmm.
ooh, oof
I
is the
watched a
word.
few of the bad games. I saw highlights of bad games. There was some games that were on YouTube, some were on ESPN. It was kind of all over the place. But that was the main game because everyone was so hyped that they're like, okay, these are the two best teams. Da 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 da. I'm like, okay, let me make sure I watch this game and pay attention because you know me, I'm still learning everything as far as college football goes. But all I know is the two interceptions during the game, not to rush into everything that happened.
Go straight into it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous. I was just like, I mean, like, y'all put like 7 points up on the board, and I'm just like, these guys put 14, and There was a lot of people that were upset that they didn't score more, and I'm like, well, when you have teams that are actually playing defense, you're not going to be able to score as well. Why would you expect a high scoring game from two of the best teams in the league? I'm ready for your commentary. I'm listening. I'm just trying to figure
I
out
think
why
I
people
think
think it's going to be high scoring if their defense is pretty A1.
I think it's wishful thinking, man. I think that's really what it comes down to. People just they hoping for a good game. They trying to speak it into existence.
Mhm.
Both. I thought my takeaway from specifically Texas, Ohio State, and I felt like this about a lot of the games. If you took away the quarterback for both teams, you
Mhm.
could be impressed with players on both sides of the football for every team you saw. I saw linebackers flying all over the field. I saw cornerbacks. I saw wide receivers winning routes. I saw defensive backs shutting down wide receivers on certain plays. I
Mhm.
saw great offensive line play. I just really think the differentiator in a lot of these college games we saw was the quarterback, and not just the efficiency of passes completed, the efficiency of movement, efficiency of acting upon a good thought with expedience. So not just I see something now do it. No, the speed with which you can see the good thing, do the good thing quick, like crisp. The only team that I saw had that was Miami and to a lesser degree South Carolina. Those teams had the two best quarterback play that I saw. Miami with Carson Beck and South Carolina with Lenore Sellers. I liked what I saw from those two quarterbacks.
Mhm.
Um, Ohio State had because they just came out with the new week two rankings. So Ohio State has moved up to number one, and Texas has dropped to number seven. South Carolina has raised to number 10, and Miami has raised to number five. Um, Me personally, I think I would have Miami as a top four team, but if
Hmm.
you want to leave Georgia at number four, I'm okay with that.
Georgia Tech.
South Carolina, I'm bringing South Carolina above Notre Dame, Clemson, and Texas
Mhm.
because all three of those teams lost, and I think South Carolina is better than Texas, Clemson, and Notre Dame because you're not going to tell me Texas has better athletes than Clemson. I mean, you're not going to tell me South Carolina has worse athletes than Texas, Clemson, and Notre Dame, but I can without a doubt tell you that South Carolina will get better quarterback play than Texas, Clemson, and Notre Dame for the majority of this season, if not the entirety of the season.
Okay. How did you feel about the Georgia Tech Colorado game?
The Georgia Tech Colorado game,
Mhm.
it was a heartbreaking game. Um, the Colorado left some points on the board early in the fourth quarter. I mean, not fourth quarter, first quarter. First quarter. In the first quarter, it should have been like 21-7, honestly.
Okay.
But they just could not put scoring drives together. I did not like the quarterback play from Colorado. I did wonder why they were not running the ball more with their quarterback in Colorado. I was surprised by how pushed around both sides of the line was, offensive line and defensive line for Colorado. I was surprised at the poor defensive back play from Colorado. I was surprised at the poor linebacker play from Colorado, and I was surprised at the lack of a running game from Colorado. This is year number three for Dion. I wonder if we will get to bowl eligibility this year with Dion. I would have liked to see Colorado make the leap into guaranteed bowl game attender status.
Mhm.
So, are we reaching for a playoff spot? No, but I thought we would establish a floor of bowl eligibility, I think that's in jeopardy after week one as a week one overreaction.
Hmm. Okay.
As far as Georgia Tech concerns, I didn't see nothing from Georgia Tech that made me think Georgia Tech's going to do anything positive this year. I think that game was more so about what Colorado did wrong and what Colorado might actually be versus what we wish or what we want them to be. We might have to accept that at best, Colorado under Dion will be mediocre. And we have to stop hoping that there is a gradual climb to eliteness with Colorado.
Hmm. Okay. I think we need to see some more. We need to see how they. Let's see how they improve within the next few weeks, right? And then let's make those
Absolutely.
clarifications on that. And I'm at.
This is week one overreaction. That's all it is. I know I'm overreacting,
I don't think
but
you're
but
overreacting. I think it's fair. I mean, you got to come out there and show what you got, and let's go from there. Um,
right.
I'm not gonna get into the other topic I wanted to get into because I'm still learning, like I said. But I will ask your thoughts. Did you see what Cam Newton had to say about Shador Sanders?
I did see that.
He's playing with the Browns. How do you feel about what he said about he's in trouble and this, that, and the third, and because he kept getting sacked, and he's like, well, it's just not looking good for him as far as like placement.
Yeah, the issue that Shador has, and I think what Cam Newton was highlighting is these were some of the things that were concerns that were raised when um, when Shador was in college. They
Hmm.
talked about him holding on to the ball too long. And yeah, in college, he can get out the pocket and make some plays, but he was college mobile. He's not NFL mobile. He
Hmm.
can't run with the NFL guys. He can't run with NFL D linemen. He can't run with linebackers. They will hawk him down. And he never had the strongest arm. So he doesn't have the arm strength, just pure strength to bail him out. And he doesn't have the pure athleticism to get him out of bad situations on the field. Um, I think what it really comes down to with Shador is he just isn't talented enough. But he's a celebrity. And we're going to have more of this. Shador's not going to be the last. 2025 onward, because of NIL and because of social media, players are going to come into the NFL, come into the NBA, come into their respective sports leagues as celebrities. So they're already going to have eyes and ears fixed onto them. But
Hmm.
if their play does not match their name, that imbalance will get corrected, but the course correction will involve a lot of criticism until their name is brought down to where their talent lies. So right now, Shador's talent is bottom of the barrel, but his name is marquee. So he will be criticized until his name is at the same level as his game. And that's going to be a painful process for people to watch. And it's going to look unfair because the expectations were he was going to be a high draft pick. He already wasn't a high draft pick. So now you have the viewing public confused. Is this racism? Is this sabotage? But we got to keep this in mind. Shador Sanders, high school to college, was coached by his dad. In the off seasons, he was mentored by Tom Brady, considered the GOAT. And on draft night, he was co signed publicly on social media by the President of the United States. So that's not a man who sabotaged, right? The Netflix and the NFL just released a documentary. Who's the first guy that pops up on the documentary? Outside of the team owner, Jerry Jones, it's Deion Sanders, who's also narrating a part of the documentary too. So the idea that the NFL wants to get at Deion, the NFL loves Deion. Everybody loves Deion. College football gets money with Deion. NFL still gets money with Deion. Netflix getting money with Deion. Nike getting money with Deion. Uh, you know,
Hmm.
but Shador's talent level. is lower than his name level. And of course, correction is taking place and it looks brutal. The NFL wants silence or superstar. If you a superstar like Odell Beckham, you can do your dance. You can have colorful hair. You can have your earring dangling out of your helmet. The second you stop being a superstar, it's shut the fuck up time. If you can't shut the fuck up while not being a superstar, we're gonna have to get you up out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The Baltimore Ravens got 55 players on their team. You only hear from one because only one of them is a superstar. You ain't trying to hear from. You're not even trying to hear from good players if they're
Yeah.
not a superstar. You only try to hear from the star because you know why? Because we gonna put the ball in the star's hand. Or if the star's on defense, we gonna say, "Yo, we need you to make a play." That's why the star get to talk because they game can do just like old girl said. I let my racket do the talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the difference. And I think with Shador, at the end of the day, he can't. His game can't do the talking because I don't think he has the talent. And I think
Is
that's hard for a lot of people to stomach.
is it giving like Bronny James to LeBron James or
It's giving Bronny James. The difference is Bronny James appears to be cooler than Shador. In terms of Bronny James, is Bronny James a manufactured product of nepotism? 100% without a doubt. Does Bronny James, talent wise, deserve to be on the NBA roster? 100% no. But you know what Bronny James doesn't do? You know what Bronny James don't do? He don't rub nobody the wrong way. Bronny James, the person, one-on-one interacting with other human beings. At
hmm,
some point, people gonna forget about nepotism, and they're gonna. It's enough people to say, "Yo, he a cool dude."
yeah.
Let's take Dion's son, Shador. You coming through with the brash, arrogant attitude. The pre-draft process, they said that could have been better. What's true? What's wrong with all the rumors? We'll have no way of finding out what was true and what was false. But what we do see is after you have your one good preseason game, you go press out that old reporter
Yeah.
in the tunnel. We seen that. You
Yeah.
know, we see you got a camera crew following you everywhere you go. You got your brother with the camera documenting you while
Hmm.
you're in preseason as a fifth round pick, as somebody whose starting spot is not solidified, whose backup spot is not solidified. And for the majority of training camp, the backup to the backup spot was not solidified.
Hmm.
We see all this. We see you get two citations for speeding, and then you get a warning because you missed your court date. We've seen these things. When
Hmm.
it comes to Bronny, the difference is Bronny not making no noise. Bronny not putting his watch up every time he score, going doing this. Bronny don't got no catchphrase. Bronny don't got no slogan. Bronny don't got no. Bronny is not an influencer. Bronny is not. Bronny don't have a dad that's saying, well, if Bronny don't make it in basketball, he got other options. You heard Dion make that comment about Shiloh. No shit, he got other options, Dion. Like nobody wants to hear. Monica don't want to hear that when she go off work and she watch a football game. She want to watch 53 players who feel like they don't got nothing else going on besides the game. Even if they do, it's a TV show first. It's sports, but it's sport legally it's sports. In reality, it's a television show. You're not trying to watch Love Island for somebody to come on Love Island to say for real. You don't want to hear no girl on Love Island say I don't really like boys like that, or some dude go on Love Island. I ain't pressed for girls like that. Well, then get the fuck up off the show, and we can bring somebody who pressed to be up on this island. Like, why do you think you gotta be? We not going. Yeah, we not going to shackle you to be here. If you got other options and you don't want to take this serious, hey, my man, don't let me waste your time. I don't want to do that.
I
And
think it's just the
so
cockiness. I mean, let's be real. It is prime
it's
time.
unearned.
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
No,
It is. But
no.
at the
Your
same
dad is
time,
prime time.
yeah,
You're
no,
not prime time. Your
I know,
dad is.
but he's giving them that cockiness, and I don't think LeBron is doing
Yeah.
that with Bronny. LeBron's like, nah, bro, like you got to work harder. You got to be better. You got to
Facts.
do better. He's telling him like, if this is what you want to do, you got to do better. They know they have other options, but
Yeah, of course Bronny
LeBron is
knows.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
go be cocky, go be this, that, and the third. Like it's just unnecessary. And that's
Right.
something that's instilled in them. You have to realize what your parents instill in you is gonna show eventually, right? So I'm just saying. So, that's my thoughts on that. Um,
No,
what
I think you nailed it on the head about yeah, I'm just filling up my water, but
okay.
I guess you nailed it with that when you mentioned that it's about what your parents instilled in you. And I know we're not taking shots at Dion, but I think the type of cockiness that Dion has,
Mhm.
I think Dion, it's either a miscal. Listen, Dion's a dad, but
Yeah.
I think it's either a miscalculation of his son's talent
Mhm.
or Dion not recognizing that not everybody can be as brash as you.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm sorry, that don't work.
Mhm.
I can't be as if my dad's Dion, I can't pull up 7 gold chains, 6 buttons down on the silk shirt on draft night with a wet Jerry curl.
Right.
Like I can't do that if I'm not also going to be the greatest player of all time at my position 100% without a doubt.
Right.
Like that's what it that's what it took for Dion to be acceptable.
Mhm.
Like for you to accept Dion playing two sports and also having a rap song and video with MC Hammer and having a Jerry Curl and telling teams, "Oh, I'm not even going to meet with you. I'm only going to meet with this team because I only want to go here." You better be the one of the like you could argue Dion's the greatest football player ever, and no one's going to call you stupid. That's the level you have to reach to be that cocky. You can't be that cocky because you're dad. Because Dion had to make plays on the field. He had to make plays on the field when people were doubting him, when people were booing him, when people were preying on his downfall. He had to make plays, and he made the plays
Yeah.
over and over and over again. That's not Shador. And I think Dion, yeah, you want to be a dad, but like we're both parents. I'm a keep it like I'm a root my kid on, but I'm gonna also keep it real with them so that they don't fall into delusion.
Exactly. Because
Like
that's
I want you to, hey, I want you, baby girl. I think you the best in the world. But if I see her actually about to go up against the best in the world, I'm be like, hey, to give ourselves the best chance, let's lock in this week. Let's lock in this week. Let's have on the lead up to going against. Oh, girl, I believe in you, but part of me believing in you is I believe you're gonna put in the work to perform.
right.
And we're gonna make life easy on ourselves. How can we making life easy? What should do his life be easy if he could do the draft process over and shake hands and kiss babies? If he took that approach,
Yeah.
if he because everybody because all the pundits I saw on TV were like they this was during the draft process and after he got drafted in the fifth round they were like they just don't like it when a young black man cocky and arrogant and blah blah blah
That's
and
all we were
they only
getting.
like it and I'm like okay yeah but nobody likes that though. People only no one likes when someone is cocky and arrogant. People put up with cocky and arrogance. But guess what? Let's do a hypothetical. Let's say you worked for a cocky, arrogant boss, but he was the highest paying employer in your city. Then what you gonna do? Put up with it. You don't like it, you putting up with it.
Yeah.
But the second there's somebody across the street who's paying you $1,000 more than you getting paid where you at, and you don't have to deal with cockiness and arrogance, you're not about to stay. You're going to leave because now you don't have to put up with it no more. And
Exactly.
I think it's the same thing with Shador compared to his dad Dion. Dion gave us a reason where we had to put up with the cockiness. There is no reason why we have to bear witness to Shador Sanders' cockiness. We don't have to. That's what it comes down to. Like you can tell me, oh, give him time to develop, but I think the Browns could say for what? Like,
Hmm.
what is he? What do you think he's going to develop into?
Right. I agree.
Like he not about to be Lamar or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. So who cares? They're looking at it like, oh, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going to be a very humbling experience for him, but I think it's needed in some cases, and
Yes.
it's just it's just what comes with life, Sometimes you might think you're so good at something or, cuz somebody's pumped your head up to like 1,000% and it's like, yo, like when you really look at it from a non-delusional standpoint, you're not even really above average. But,
No.
sometimes people have to go through that. Sometimes we got to go through that, in life, and it helps us get better. It helps us take things more seriously. It helps us appreciate more opportunities to do things going forward, So I feel like that's something he's going to go through, and may the best man come out great, Otherwise, we see these people breaking down and this, that, and the third because I thought I was this, I thought I was that, and then I realized, I'm not. And once you're able to accept that, you can move forward and get better. So that might be something he just has to go through. Growing pains, that's what we call them,
Right.
you know?
Right. And listen, we don't know how his NFL career going to turn out, but I'm sure that in the long run that can help with his life.
Right. It really can. It really can in many different areas, not just NFL. So it's a life lesson, Sometimes you have people out here who are just so cocky, like, oh, I did this, I did that, da 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 da, and sometimes people just need to get humbled.
100%.
You know, you can't
100%.
you can't be like that. You can't be like that. Why did God kick the devil out of heaven? Pride. Thinking you're better,
100%.
thinking you need to be worshiped, thinking this, that, and the third. Like you can't act like that, and get away with it, but for so long. So, we'll see how he goes with that. But we want to move on to my favorite sport of the day. Been waiting for this.
Okay. Okay. I know you have a lot of
Face
opinions.
it.
Sorry, I had to switch locations to get my phone
No,
charged.
you're good.
But I want to ask you about the WNBA. Okay, just briefly taking a look at the standings right now. Number one in the Eastern Conference is
Hmm.
the Atlanta Dream at 26-14. Number two
Hello.
in the East, the Liberty, 24-16. The Liberty lost their last game. They have a losing record in their last 10 games. They're 4-6.
Hmm.
And then we look at the top two teams out west, which are the top two teams overall. First of all, I want to talk about the Aces, which are number two
Yes.
in the West. Last time we talked WNBA, the Aces seemed like they were going through a bit of a hard time. They were
Mhm.
sustaining injuries to a lot of important players, and so it seemed like they were in the part of the season where they were walking through the wilderness. And it seemed like, you know what, this might be the season from hell for them. But in their last 10 games, they're the only team in the association who is undefeated in their last 10 games, and they're on a 12-game winning streak. They're number two in the West and they're number two overall in the league, 26-14. And also the Lynx are number one in the West, number one overall, 32-8, 80% win percentage. Um, and they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're on a 2-game winning streak. And so I want to ask you about the standings first before I ask you about other stuff.
So I'm gonna say the Lynx. I love watching the Lynx play. Right? They like to play with their food. They like to play with their food. I've watched them, come out now. Nafisa Collier, she's been injured, off and on. She's came out and played a few games, and then took a back seat, right, to let everyone else do their thing. Courtney Williams, in my opinion, is the star on the Lynx, and she's been helping lead the team playing her position as shooting point guard, whatever. She can play everything, right? Rebounding, assisting. She does a little bit of everything. Courtney Williams has really helped the team thrive in Nafisa Collier's absence. That's just my opinion. Um, Courtney, what's the girl's name? I cannot remember her name. But then we got Alana Smith, with the rebounding and just the way that she plays. She goes hard on the court, just doing everything that needs to be done. She's there when you need her to be there. Kayla McBride is up and down. Um, very up and down, very up and down, very hit or miss every game. Now that's my thoughts on the links right now, right? Like I said, Courtney Williams, the what do they call them? The stud buds. Yes, and Natasha Heidman. The stud buds have been doing what they need to do. Shout out to Natasha Heidman. Last night they had a game and she had a double double and she decided that she wanted to hit that fourth triple, making it 20 points. And she had her 10 assists. Okay, she did what she needed to do. Um, who was the second? And then we got Atlanta Dream. Atlanta Dream that has been without Jordan Canada for the last few games. She got a little injury, leg injury, I believe it was. Now the Atlanta Dream have been doing what they need to do. Um, what is it? Alicia Gray. Phenomenal, phenomenal player, right? Rebounding, assisting, shooting, whatever it is that she needs to do. Brittany Griner. Oh my God, let me get everybody's name up here. I'm so sorry. If you have any thoughts in between me pulling this roster up, Brianna Jones, Ryan Howard. I'm talking about all their starters right now. Brittany Griner is not a starter right now. She's coming off the bench, but she's coming off the bench and doing what she needs to do. Nas Hillman, um, Tahina Papa. I love saying her name. Nia Carver. They're all doing what they need to do to keep the Atlanta Dream in that number one spot in the East, right? They've been playing their butts off. They've been out shooting other teams, outscoring. It's just been very fun to watch. Now, last night they did have a little struggle. Who did they play last night? Was it the game last night? Last night. I don't know why every time I pull this thing up, I can't pull it up. Yeah, it was the Dallas Wings that they struggled against. Ah, no. Ooh, I'm getting my games mixed up. I'm sorry.
Who
Game.
the Lynx?
The Atlanta
I
Dream.
think
No.
the
No,
Lynx
no, no,
just
no, no, no,
punished.
no.
Oh,
No, the Lynx played the Wings last night. Who did the Dream play? Can you pull it up?
I got you.
It was either last night or the night before. Just trying to make sure I pull this up right before I start speaking on it. Who did they play last night? The Connecticut Sun.
Come
That's who they
on.
played. And they played with
Okay.
their food the entire game, okay? They played with their food the entire game. Now, I'm not going to hold you because Layla Lacan came out and she was doing what she needed to do as far as getting the steals and everything. It was a great game. I'm going to say that. But the Atlanta Dream ended up beating them 93-76. I was kind of scared for the Dream at first because I was like, I thought they was going to lose. I was very nervous about that. But they came through and they pulled through and they did what they needed to do. Now, the Liberty were without Stewie for I don't know how many games, maybe 10, 11 games or so. Um, and they struggled. They really did struggle. John Quill Jones and Sabrina Ionescu on the floor, they weren't necessarily doing everything that needed to be done to get all these wins, right? And that's why they're standing as of right now is 24-16. What did you say it was? You have it pulled up?
I got you.
So sorry, I'm struggling right now
20.
'cause I don't have everything pulled up right in front of me. But
So it's 26 and 14 for the
26
Dream.
and 14 on the
24 and 6.
And that's without most of these games without Brianna Stewart being on the court to help space the floor with her bigger size like that, right? So you had Jonquel Jones having to do everything. Natasha Natasha Cloud. Um having the assist. Her assists definitely went up over that time frame of Stewie not being on the court with them. Now, I'm just gonna say the Liberty have a fully healthy team. Everybody's healthy. Rebecca Gardner. Everybody's out there on the floor. Everybody's doing what they need to do. And I will say the Liberty have a lot of size. So I think whoever they play in the playoffs, whoever they play first, second, third, they're going to be struggling with the Liberty against their size. And I honestly think the Liberty might be able to run it back a second year in a row as far as the championship. Now, who is number second and who's second in the West? Is it the Phoenix Mercury that's number second in the West right now?
Second in the West is the Las Vegas Aces.
Las Vegas Aces. Okay, Aces. There we go. Okay, and then third is the Mercury, right?
Third, correct, is the Mercury.
Okay, all right, cool. We got it. Okay. Now, the Aces have okay, there was a thing in the beginning of the season, right, where everybody was like, yo, y'all gonna have Asia Wilson doing everything by herself. She's gonna be doing these 30-point games, 12 rebounds a game, whatever, and nobody else is gonna have her, right? Jackie Young has actually stepped up a lot. She's been actually working on getting her triple doubles every game, and she got one or two, if I'm not mistaken. Um, as far as assisting, rebounding, and shooting the ball, right? And getting better at shooting the ball. We have Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray, one of the best assisters in the league, right? She likes to throw the ball, get the ball out there. Like I like how the Aces are sharing the ball. We got Jewel Lloyd who shoots really well. It just the overall just progress of the Aces team. It's like something woke up in them about a month ago, and they've just been thriving
Hmm.
ever since. And it's been really fun to watch. You have something to say? Go ahead.
I'm wondering, do you think that this is the? Do you think is it that something clicked a month ago, or is it they just finally got healthy?
I think something clicked because all of the players that are on the court now were still on the court months ago, if I'm not mistaken. They just weren't doing much.
True. 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 That's true. That's true. And they got a big game coming up on Thursday.
They did. And who they
Especially
playing?
when you think about the, it'll be the Aces versus the Lynx. It'll be a big
And
matchup because right now they're battling. Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier are battling for the MVP.
yeah, well, we know. I personally feel like the Aces are gonna win that game. Nafisa Collier. Now, this last game that she played, she was shooting from the 3-point line. She was shooting very well. She had about how many threes did she make? Let me look this up real quick. Last game, this was against the Dallas Wings. And they actually struggled against the Dallas Wings like the first three quarters, which was very interesting. But they ended up coming out with the win. Nafisa. Mm, 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 mm. Need to see all so I can see this stat line for my girl. She was 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. 3-point percentage 100%. She had 3 blocks, 3 rebounds, 25 points, 1 assist. Now, what we're going to be looking at is defensive and defense and the size. Now on the links, we have Bridget Carlton, we got Alana Smith, we got Nafisa Collier. Dejanay Carrington is very heavy on defense. She's a problem, right? Other than losing her contacts on the floor, which I need to like never happen again. They had to have a game stoppage because of that. Now we're matching up against
That's a big deal.
huh, what, losing your contacts on the floor? Nah, it's a very big deal, and I need it to not happen
Yeah,
again.
that's a big deal.
If you got to get the goggles like Alicia Graydon, you got to get the goggles, sis. Can't be losing the contacts on the floor. And then she put the contact right back in her eye, and I'm like, you're not gonna clean it
Wow,
first? Jesus Christ. Anyways, beyond
young
me.
lady, that's
That's
nasty.
beyond me. All right, I'm trying to look at these rosters so I can match everybody up properly. Now,
Take your time.
here's where the Lynx will struggle with the Aces. Chelsea Gray and Jewel Lloyd are very strong.
Mhm.
You see their size. You see, they're not tall, but they're bigger, right? They're built. They're built up. And I think earlier we had a conversation about just the size
Yeah.
of athletes, them getting in the gym and training, and how they can be more aggressive on defense and things of that nature with the size. Now, Jewel Lloyd and Chelsea
Size
Gray.
helps a lot.
Chelsea
Weight
Gray
too.
plays point guard. Huh? What'd you say?
No, no, I was agreeing with you. I was agreeing with you. I said size and weight too.
Size
I
and
think
weight,
that's
100%.
the biggest thing that we always talk about.
Hmm.
Yeah, weight. How heavy can you be?
Now, who on the Lynx
Because
is
it helps
guarding
like when
Jackie
you.
Young? Are we putting Kayla McBride on Jackie Young? Are we putting Kayla McBride on Jewel Lloyd or
Oh, you
Chelsea
gotta
Gray?
let. Well, I guess you expand on that. You expand on that. Let me know. Let me know what problems does Las Vegas present Minnesota, and then how can Minnesota overcome those problems, and then vice versa. What problems does Minnesota present to Las Vegas, and how can Las Vegas overcome those problems?
Minnesota presents a problem because most of their shooters can shoot from the 3-point line and make it every time. Aces are not shooting from the 3-point line. They're getting into the paint every time, right? So how do the Aces stop Minnesota from shooting from the perimeter? Is Minnesota going to take it to the
And
paint?
that's the question
Because
that.
Courtney Williams has a great midi, right? Jackie Young, when she's on fire, has a great midi. Chelsea Gray, when she's on fire. Jewel Lloyd, when she's on fire, has a great midi. Jewel Lloyd can also shoot from the 3-point line. Aja Wilson can get in the paint and she can get around whoever. Who's going to be blocking Aja Wilson? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because we can all say Nafisa Collier, but if we really put the MVP up against the MVP, who do you think is coming out of that match alive? I'm taking Aja Wilson.
Didn't Minnesota beat the Aces last year in the playoffs?
Yes.
If I'm not
But
mistaken.
we're looking at
And
a different
when they
roster this year. Kelsey Plum has moved around. So we got
no
some new. Say that again.
no, I was just saying in terms of like because both both Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier like they would guard each other. So that's why I was just saying like that's
But we could put
that
other
Nafisa and
we could put other links on Aja Wilson now. We could put Elena Smith
no for
on Aja
sure
Wilson. We could put
for
Jackie
sure I
Stewart on Aja Wilson. We could put
for sure
Bridget Carlton. So
no
that's what
I in terms of like
The Aces
No,
have
I just meant
strength.
in terms of
Go ahead.
how we can kind of go based on like how those two guarded each other last year in a high pressure situation. You were like putting the
It's
FISA
gonna be a
on
switch up
Asia,
though.
who's going to come out alive. It's going
But
to be a what?
they're not gonna guard each other the same way. They can't. You can't do the same thing every year and think it's gonna work. And the fact that they struggled against the
Okay.
Dallas Wings
Um.
last night is very telling. They came out with the win, but they were struggling.
So
It was a very fast-paced
I got
game,
some
but the
season.
Lynx. Go ahead.
Oh no, no, keep going. I think there's a delay, so that's why I ended up talking while you were talking. My bad. It's a
Oh no,
little
you're
delay.
good. You're
Go
good.
ahead.
So the Lynx play a very fast game, right? Wings were able to keep up with them. Do I think that the Aces will be able to keep up with them? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. Who do I think is going to outshoot who? Like I said, the Aces are going to have to be able to keep the Lynx off of the perimeter. If they can keep them from the perimeter, off the perimeter, and force them to go into the paint, it'll be a game. Now, if the Lynx just start shooting 3 pointers all over the floor, the game's gonna be done. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, and it's nothing against the A. I'm just saying we got to pull it together. We cannot let them just get to the perimeter and just shoot like that every time. I think I said the same thing about Boston last year and other teams that were just shooting 3 pointers off the mark in the NBA. You cannot let them just be on the perimeter shooting. So the Aces, like I said, they have very good defense. Jackie Young is a monster on defense. Um, Chelsea Gray also very aggressive on defense. Asia Wilson is a sniper, as far as grabbing the ball, getting those steals and everything. I think it's going to be a perfect game for them. Like I said, they just have to keep Minnesota off that perimeter because their 3 point percentage is very high.
Looking at the season stats, the season is nearing the end for
Yes.
the WNBA. The stats will tell you that the Minnesota Lynx are not only probably going to win the game against Las Vegas, but probably going to win the championship. Their net rating is 13. That is their 13.1 net rating is pretty much the same amount as the second and third place combined. Atlanta Dream is 8. New York Liberty is 5. For those listening, net rating is basically your offensive rating, which is for the Minnesota Lynx 110.5, subtracting your defensive rating for the Minnesota Lynx, which is 97.4, and that's how you get 13.1. Also, side note, the Minnesota Lynx lead the NBA in offensive rating at 110.5, and um, they also lead defensive rating 97.2. Just to show how dominant that is, number 2, number 3, and number 4 and 5 are all separated by 2 points. But their lead for offensive rating above number 2 is 3 points. Now,
Hmm.
also in defensive rating, number 2, number 3, number 4 are all separated by 1 point. The Minnesota Lynx between number 1 and number 2 are separated by 2 points. So, but it's not just there. Monica, you mentioned their 3 point shooting. Guess what? The Lynx lead the WNBA in 3 point percentage, 38.4% from three. That is 3 percentage points higher than number 2. You guessed it. Number 2, what separates number 2 from number 3, 4, and 5 is 1. So they're better than number 2 by 3. And then the Minnesota Lynx also are number 2 in 3 pointers made by just one. The leader is the Golden State Valkyries at 391. They're at 390. So it's pretty much the same. They have the highest field goal percentage in the WNBA as a team, 47%. They're third in the league in steals per game. They're second in the league in blocks per game.
I don't know why this thing keeps glitching. Just a little delay. My guest host will be back on in a minute, guys. Mm. Just give it a second. But while he is getting everything fixed on his end, we're talking kind of slow because, like I said, I have to pull these stats up as I'm going. So, give me 2 seconds. Are you back?
I got a call at the same time, and I was trying to press deny call, but then it started jumping. Then I could see you, and I was like, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" But your face was stuck. So I don't know if this app allows you to how it goes, but I'm back. I was basically saying that yeah, and a lot of the key stats, the Minnesota Lynx are leading the league, or they're top three, top five, number one in points per game, number one in assists per game. Now, if there is an area that the Aces are among the league's best, it's at blocks per game at number three. They're number two in free throw percentage, but they're also
Mhm.
the Aces are what did I see that was really promising for them? They are good in second chance points. They are number five in second chance points. And you mentioned that they have that the Aces have a lot of size. And having a lot of size is conducive to getting offensive rebounds at second half points. The problem is though, um,
They
Minnesota
have
is
more
number two
weight.
in fast
The
break
Lynx
points.
honestly have, yeah, the Lynx honestly have more size as far as bigs, as far as tall, but the Aces have more weight on them. You see what they can be more aggressive on defense.
Hmm.
While Alana Smith might get hit in the face and, start doing all this dramatic stuff. You see what I'm saying? Can you take a hit? That's my thing.
Yes, and it's
That
that's a big question to answer. I also see that both teams rely heavily on the mid range. They have a stat in the WNBA on their website: percentage of points mid range.
mhm.
11.1% of the Las Vegas Aces, 11% of their points come from mid range jumpers, which would be for fourth in the WNBA. The problem is number two in the WNBA is the Minnesota Lynx. 12% of their points come from mid range jumpers. That is good for two in the league, but the Minnesota Lynx are third in the WNBA with 33.6% of their points coming from the 3 point line as well. So so the big question for Las Vegas, can you stop the 3 point shooting for Minnesota? Can you keep them off the glass? Can you be smart with the basketball and not give them second chance points? Can you not give them extra possessions? Can you make sure that they don't get in transition and run up and down the court? Um, because if you cannot, then you're gonna be like every other team in the league,
I think they can definitely
which
keep
is
them off the
losing to
glass.
them.
Like I said, Chelsea Gray is very aggressive as far as getting rebounds. Aja Wilson is very aggressive as far as getting rebounds. Jackie Young, like I said, she's been doing them triple doubles or aiming for those triple doubles. She's really aggressive in getting off the glass. Who we got on the Minnesota Lynx that's getting off the glass? We got Oh my God, I cannot think of nobody's name right now. We got Nafisa Collier, we got Alana Smith, we got Bridget Carlton. Um, Courtney Williams can be very aggressive as well, but Courtney Williams is a small fry, like I said, compared to these girls on the Aces team. So it's going to be a very interesting game to watch. And I can't remember the last time that they matched up. But I would like to watch the highlights and kind of go off that based on what I think their coaches will adjust in order to see who can win this game and who's going to lose. I would love to see that. Now, where I do, which okay, we can't go based on that because we got to go based on the Western Conference and who's going to be playing who. So, now, like I said, it was interesting to me the other night when the Wings and the Lynx went at it because, like I said, the Lynx like to play with their food sometimes, right? And so the Wings don't really have that much size, in my opinion, compared to the Lynx. So it was interesting that they struggled against them, but we're looking at it, them going up against the Aces, it's going to be a real struggle. The Aces are not just going to give them that win like that. They're not going to allow them to get those points in the paint. Like it's not going to be a hump jump and a jump and a skip. It's going to be a lot that needs to go down for them to be able to win this game against the Aces, for the Lynx to be able to win.
I'm with you on that. I'm still here. I'm just have to go off camera a bit. But
No,
no,
I hear
I
you.
agree with you. Um, everything looks promising. I have a question. I know you were really high on Seattle, um, and you can never discount New York. Also, do you think it's going to come down to Las Vegas, or do you think it will come down to somebody who we might not be acknowledging right now?
I mean, don't sleep on the Mercury because the Mercury, but the problem with the Mercury for me is that Satu Sabelli has all that size and she doesn't show up the way that she needs to sometimes. She really doesn't show up the way that she needs to sometimes. And I mean, they have a game tonight, so I want to see how that game goes. But it's like Alyssa Thomas and Kalia Copper doing everything every game. Alyssa Thomas getting all the rebounds. Alyssa Thomas doing all the assists. Alyssa Thomas being the aggressor. Alyssa Thomas having to make the layups, even though she's not that good of a shooter, as we all know, right? And then we see Kalia Copper coming out these games with like 20 points or more every game, letting a wig fly off and everything, just putting it all out there on the floor. And I just feel like the other members on the Mercury team, they need to do a little bit more. And that's the only reason why I think we're not talking about them as a contender right now, as far as who's going to make it to actual finals and who's going to play in those actual games. I think the Mercury put up a good fight. I've seen the Mercury in person recently when I went for my birthday to go see them play against the Mystics. And, Alyssa Thomas and a little ugly layup she does, it works every time. But we need all the players on the Mercury roster to be able to come out and do what they need to do. Dewana Bonner can be very aggressive. Dewana Bonner is very skinny. She needs a little more size on her, right? So we say. Um, Sammy Whitcomb, she's helpful on the floor. Natasha Mack now, I will say Mack is a big that's going to be very big for whoever plays them defensively, because Mac can get those blocks every game. I don't know what she averages in her blocks. I have to look at her stats real quick. But Mac is a big defender on the floor as well. So you got Mac and you got Alyssa Thomas on the sides. You got Dewana Bonner, Satu Sabale. Satu just needs to do a little bit more. When the first season first started, Satu was coming out before she got injured, right? Because she is coming off an injury, so I'm not too much on her on that, right? She's still getting it together. Um, She can shoot from the mid range, 3-point range, everything. And she's great on defense. Just I'm not counting the Mercury out at all. I just want to see more of what they can do before we go from there. Now the Valkyries, I'm not very familiar with the Valkyries players, but the Valkyries are a very aggressive team. And like you said, from the 3-point line, they're shooting. They're gonna make those shots. They're gonna be very aggressive defensively. Um, Seattle Storm, like I said, their coach needs to read the floor better. Now she's been reading it better in the last few games, but then again, Skylar Diggins did come out and do her thing in that one game where she had her hair all messed up, and she said, "Listen, we're not playing no games with y'all." Let me see, what was this game? The Storm games recently, because I did want to highlight that game. Now the last stance. Um, who did they play? That was the Lynx they played against, actually. That they beat, and the Lynx couldn't do nothing with them in those last 2 quarters. They couldn't do anything with them. Skylar came out and was shooting like a madman from the 3-point range everywhere, shooting from all over the floor, passing the ball to Ogwumike. Did I say her name wrong? Ogwumike. Um, it was a lot going on in that game that I saw from the Lynx that I didn't really like, perhaps. And this is why I'm saying we're hyping the Lynx up and we're saying, oh, they're shooting these 3-point percentage, they're high on this, high on that, da 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 da. But when it really comes down to it, if another team is really playing competitively, they struggle every time, and they're going to struggle. Um, it needs to be some adjustments made, right? Um, Now the Storm did lose to the Sparks the other night, and I'm just gonna say off the top of my head that the Sparks is they have been impressing me. I've been very impressed with the Sparks over this season. The way that Kelsey Plum has led this team, even though they're still on the outside looking in, they may or may not make the playoffs. We'll see. The Sparks have done a great job in just everything as far as playing more defensively. Now, that's one thing they do need to work on, their defense, because they easily allow these teams to get around them and get these points, and that just needs to stop. Azora Stevens and De'Erica Hamby can't do everything by themselves. Kelsey Plum is very aggressive on defense as well. But she had a few turnovers the other night, and that was not a pretty picture to watch. Rakia Jackson, being a rookie, just coming out and doing what needs to be done on the floor every night, putting it all on the floor. She's had how many 10-point games? And yeah, it's just 10 points, but she's a rookie, mind you. So you got to respect it. Who else do we have? What are your thoughts on that? Are you there? Oh, shoot, I can't see this thing. Yep, it went out again. Anyway, let me finish giving my thoughts on the Sparks. I wanted to give him a chance to speak up about it, but unfortunately, this thing is having some issues right about now. Now we got Cameron Brink and we got Ray Burrell off the bench, right? Cameron Brink, very aggressive. As far as getting those blocks, as far as getting those rebounds, she's very aggressive contender for the Sparks. Ray Burrell, Very, very aggressive. She's great as far as guard shooting. Julie Alamon with her assist. Like, just overall, the Sparks are just looking like a great team, just period. But unfortunately, they just haven't had enough wins to the point where we believe that they can possibly make the full on playoffs. So we're trying to, give me a second. No. I'm so sorry, guys. I do not know what is going on with this app right now. It's acting up a little bit. If you just give us a second, we will be right back to regularly scheduled programming. But as said before, with the Sparks being number 6, as far as the rankings and standings. Unfortunately, there aren't enough WNBA teams for them to still be able to potentially make the playoffs. So we're going to see what happens going forward. Otherwise, I feel like the Sparks will really give Minnesota a run for their money. But it's not working right now. Something's just not clicking. They're not getting those wins the way that they need to get them. Now, moving on to the Minnesota Lynx versus the New York Liberty. Now, they're going to have problems with the size on Liberty because Liberty has a lot of size. They got, let me put up this roster real quick. Now, the Liberty have Stewie. They have Jonquel Jones. They have Isabel Harrison. They have Rebecca Gardner. These are women who are just bigger in general. Emma Mieseman. Now, when I say I think New York is going to run it back, I truly think New York is going to be the team to run it back this season. I don't think the Lynx are rocking with New York like that. I just don't. And somebody else might have a different opinion. That's fine. Like I said, they have a lot of bigs over there in New York, and those bigs are also very aggressive. They're not just out there on the floor. They're not crying if they get hit in the face. They're being very aggressive, and they're doing what they need to do to make sure that they get these wins. Now, with so many people being injured on the team throughout the season, this is why New York has suffered from all the losses that they suffered from. But now that majority of the team is healthy, I don't know where Minnesota goes from here. If they do, even with the Aces, it's not gonna be cat and mouse. Listen, like it's gonna be a hard game for whoever has to go up against the New York Liberty right now because the whole team is healthy and they're just looking great. So, I'm looking at it from that standpoint. Like I said, Natasha Cloud, Sabrina Ionescu just being in the cut and being there when they need to be. Sabrina with her assist, Natasha with the assist. Isabel Harrison, very aggressive on defense. Rebecca Gardner, Marina Joannes, Jonquel Jones, Emma Mieseman, Naira Sabelli. They got 3 centers on this team. Like, how many forwards? Three or four, 5 forwards. We're not It's not going to be an easy win for whoever has to go up against New York. I don't care what the stats are looking like for the other teams. That's because the other teams have been healthy, or whatever player has been doing what they need to do to make sure that they come through with those wins. I'm telling you right now, whoever matches up, it's going to be against New York. New York is going to be in the finals again this year. I promise you that. I don't know who's going to be able to take them out, but I don't think it's going to be the Lynx. The Lynx weren't able to take them out last year, and we watched that in real time. So it's going to be a very it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for whoever got to go up against New York. They have the cheat code right now. They got so much size. They got so many good shooters. They got so many aggressors. It's gonna be a beautiful playoff season. I'm very excited for this. Now, The Fever have been fighting, and the Fever are number 3 in the Eastern Conference. Now we're not sleeping on Dream. We're not sleeping on Dream at all because we know Dream got size too. But Brianna Jones and Brittany Griner are not going to be able. They're not going to be able the only ones to be able to do it. Like I said, New York's healthy now, so whatever team goes up against them, it's not going to look like the same game it was last time because everyone's good now. Now the Fever are a very unhealthy team right now, and it's not. It's just. It's not. I didn't see the game the other day when the Fever had a bad game. They didn't play well the other day. I think we all saw it. Um, yeah, I don't really see it because Caitlin Clark's not healthy right now, so she hasn't been playing. Who else? Let me look at this Fever roster real quick. As far as the Fever roster, right? Sophie Cunningham is out. Caitlin Clark is out. Who else is out? Um, There's a few other players that's out, but relying on Odyssey Sims, Lexi Hall, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Natasha Howard every game, it's just not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it. Ariel Powers is a good guard, but she's decent, but it's just not enough. So I feel like definitely the Fever are gonna get taken out in that first round. Now I will say the Fever have been fighting their butts off to try to make sure that they win these games. As far as, give me 2 seconds, guys. Now, so Simbe will not be coming back on tonight because there's a whole problem with the connection on everything. But I'm gonna finish up this little rundown of what I'm doing with the Indiana Fever. So, the Indiana, they're missing Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham is a big part of their defense as far as coming off the bench and doing what needs to be done as far as defensively and everything. So I feel like, the Fever are probably going to get taken out in that first round, and it's not their fault. But Kelsey Mitchell can't carry the whole team every single game. It's just not. It can't work like that. Everybody has to be putting in the same amount of work. Aaliyah Boston will put in that work, but she's not putting in that work every single game, back to back, after game. You know, the Liberty, they're putting in that work back to back, game after game, and they're struggling, yeah, because Jonquel Jones was the only one with, and Emma Meeseman with the only the two bigs with the bigger size on the floor at those times. But now that everyone's healthy on the New York Liberty, it's just going to be a struggle for whoever has to go up against them. And I feel sorry for the teams that got to go up against them because I just feel like they just going to get punished and it's just going to be an easy game. Now, I think that we covered pretty much all of the teams that are going to be in the playoffs so far, as far as what we've seen, unless something happens and the rankings drop down again. But I did want to get into my mystics. I wanted to talk about Kiki Ariafin and I wanted to talk about Sonia Citron because they have been leading the rookies in everything. I'm going to pull this up real quick and then I'm going to get out of here for the night because I have my games that are coming on now, actually. So, Kiki Ariafin, right? Leads all rookies. Rebounds 352. She's averaging 8.6 per game. Field goal percentage 49.3%. First rookie in Mystics history to start a season with 30 points and 15 rebounds. Seventh rookie in WNBA history to post 30 points and 30 rebounds across their first 3 games. First Mystics rookie to record 4 consecutive double doubles. Second rookie of all time to total 4 double doubles within their first 5 career games. Kia WNBA Rookie of the Month for games played in May. Fastest rookie in Mystics history to total 100 plus points, 80 rebounds, and the quickest to do so in the WNBA since 2010. Okay, my girl is out here doing what she needs to do. 15 double doubles by a rookie. Listen, Kiki Ariafin is, and she's only going to get better. She's going to be a problem for whoever. I hope the Mystics don't never trade her away because we're going to need her on our team. We're going to need her 100%. She just does what needs to be done every time. I'm so happy to just see players that actually care, that are actually on the court and making things happen. You know, it's the same effect with like an Angel Reese, right? Where she's getting rebounds and everything. And everybody can make fun of Angel Reese layup all they want. That's absolutely fine. Cool. She's getting better at it now though. And she's averaging how many, what, like 10 points per game or so? Might be a little higher than that, but I know that she's averaging that. So she's doing really well for herself, right? Sonya Citron holds the franchise record for most points scored by a rookie in their debut season. First rookie in franchise history to post a 25-point, 10 plus rebound game. Mystics rookie record 620 points. She's first. 36 10-point games. She's first. 75 three-pointers made. First. Okay. Third rookie in Mystics history to make a three-pointer in 10 consecutive games to score 500 points in a season. Okay. Like the girl, listen, Sonya Citron and Kiki Ariafin are out here doing what they need to do. Now I want to hype them up a little bit more later, right? Because honestly, there's some of my favorite players right now. Now, if I'm going based on who I really think is some of the best players in the league that are really slept on, I'm gonna say Kiki Ariafin, Sonya Citron, Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams just does everything that she needs to do for the Minnesota Lynx every time. Yes, we could call Napheesa Collier MVP. That's awesome. Napheesa has missed a lot of games this season. I'm not calling her MVP right now. I'm sorry, I'm just not. And I know it was due to injury, which is totally not her fault. I'm not doing it. Aja Wilson, always a contender for me. Always a contender for me. Alyssa Thomas, always a contender for me. Okay, like Alyssa with the triple doubles and the double doubles every single game. It's fantastic. It is great to watch. It is great basketball, and that's what I'm saying. And on the next episode that we record, I want to have more of an in-depth conversation around the pay scale for WNBA players because it is very unfair for people to say, oh, well, they don't bring in enough money. They don't bring in enough this, that, and the third. Well, get them a chance to bring in more money. Maybe bring out more opportunities. Do things of that nature. Whether they're getting a cut from the NBA to pay for them for these teams or not, I don't really care. They play their butts off, and the average contract should be around $1 million for the WNBA players as well because they're putting their bodies through just as much as the guys, and it's only fair that they get paid just as much as the guys. So that is my take on that. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Trapman Sportscast. This is episode 2 of season 2, and I appreciate y'all for tuning in. The next episode, probably going to have the guys on here to talk about football again. Like I said, I am a bird on the wall. Well, a fly on the wall, right? When it comes to these things, some of these things. But just to give like a recap, we talked about Taylor Townsend, we talked about Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, and just black tennis players in general, just doing what they need to do. And making a name for themselves and just making it be known that we're not going to accept the racism. We're not going to accept the stupidity. We're not going to accept the ignorant comments. We're just not, right? We talked a little bit about college football, hopes for Colorado, and then what game was this? The Ohio State and Texas game. We kind of recapped that game. We talked about WNBA players, WNBA standings and rankings. And sorry, y'all, if it was a little bit in and out. I know we were having some trouble with connection issues and delays on the other side where I couldn't necessarily we just couldn't connect everything on that to connect all the dots. But on the next episode that you see me on, we will be connecting more dots as far as the WNBA. And I promise to have my little stats up and everything for y'all, okay? So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Keep supporting the show. Like and subscribe to the Trapman Sportscast on YouTube. You can also subscribe on Spotify. Spotify right now, season 2 will be up within about a week. We are having some technical difficulties with communication on there. So, yes, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, the Trapman Sportscast. Keep supporting. We appreciate the support. When we get to to 100 subscribers, I am going to do a very big giveaway. So I don't care if it takes till the end of this year. I don't care if it's at the end of this month or next year. I'm going to be doing a giveaway. Okay. And I'm not going to say what it is. It's going to be a surprise for whoever. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in and supporting the show. And again, keep supporting the show. Like and subscribe, please. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. My name is Monica Cherie, and this has been a great show. Peace.